be seated.
Good morning. We are Verity Centre for Better Living, a New Thought teaching ministry, a member of the Universal Foundation for Better Living, and affiliated with the International New Thought Alliance. It is a pleasure having you who are here and all of you who are streaming join us this morning. Namaskar. If you are visiting with us for the first time, will you please stand? Please remain standing. My name is Kay Cyrus, and it is my pleasure to greet you on behalf of the minister and our members. It is my hope that something said or done today will make a positive difference in your life. Will the congregation please say after me, we accept you, respect you, and appreciate you. If you have any questions pertaining to the center, please speak with me after the service. Thank you. You may be seated. Please let the people in. Let us take the opening statement as printed on the bulletin. I will say it first, and then we will affirm it together. I am a spiritual being endowed with the ability to form and shape substance. Because my body is the dwelling place of spirit, I choose to always seek to make it perfect, whole, complete. Together, please. I am a spiritual being endowed with the ability to form and shape substance. Because my body is the dwelling place of spirit, I choose to always seek to make it perfect, whole, complete. Please let the people in. Please join me in affirming three of our core beliefs. Together, please. We believe that it is God's will that every individual on the face of this earth should live a healthy, happy, and prosperous life. We believe that such a life is within the reach of each one of us, and the way to its attainment begins with the realization that the kingdom of God is within us, waiting for us to bring it into expression. We believe that we can bring this kingdom forth by practicing the universal spiritual principles handed down through the ages and taught by our way shower, Jesus Christ.
Celebrate now, come on, let me hear you say, celebrate good times, come on, let's celebrate now. Well, there's a party going on right here, a celebration to last throughout the years. So bring your good times and your laughter too. We're gonna celebrate your party with you. Come on now, celebration. Let's all celebrate and have a good time. Come on now, celebration. We're gonna celebrate and have a good time. It is time to come together. It's up to you. What's your pleasure? Everyone around the world, come
people of Verity. How are you doing?
Good.
That wasn't that great. Can we say that again? How are we doing?
Yeah.
All right. So week number 2 is done and gone, and it's week number 3. Are you ready?
Yes.
Do they sound good? Are you ready?
Yes.
All right. So our next event is the Prayer Breakfast and Love and Relationship Seminar on Saturday, October 14th at 9 a.m. And the week after that, on Friday, October 20th, is Verity's Murder Mystery Theater Night. Individual tickets are still available at $35. Last, but certainly not least, our Wednesday Practum sessions continue this week at 6:45 p.m. Will I see you there?
Yes.
That didn't sound very good. Will I see you there?
Yes.
Okay.
It is time to come together. It's up to you. What's your pleasure? Everyone around the world, come on, celebrate good times. Come on, let's celebrate now. One more time, let me hear you say, celebrate good times. Come on.
Today's inspirational reading is found on page 54 and will be read by Sierra Reese from the Sunday School.
Activate zeal. God has given me the power and ability to achieve all that is mine to do. I have been gifted with the power of zeal, but like my other powers, it remains inactive until I set it in motion. If I want to see results, I must activate zeal in me. A car has all the horsepower it needs to move, but there are certain steps that must be taken for it to move forward. The key must be put in ignition and turned. The tank must have petrol. The transmission must be in drive. The brake must be released, and gas pedal must be engaged. Just like a car, my inner power to accomplish is fueled by the gift of zeal. I set the process in motion and shift my zeal gear into the drive position. Accelerated, I do things that I have never attempted before and expect positive results. Yes, my activated God-given zeal makes a huge difference in my life. The scriptural text is taken from Romans chapter 12, verse 11. Never be lacking in zeal, but keep your spiritual fervor, and so it is.
Thank you, Sierra. The thought for the week is by Barbara. As I awaken to my true spiritual self, I discover the power and presence of God as me. And I realize that my body is the temple of God. I choose today to honor and cherish God's temple through healthy food, joyful movements, and loving myself as I am. Let us now prepare to have a moment of inner connection.
There is one power in the universe, infinite and creative, present here and now. I allow that understanding, that awareness to permeate every cell of my being, my mind, my heart, my soul, the very essence of all that is, and I invite you to join me in that very, very beautiful moment of realizing, feeling, and expressing God. The body that I live in is the temple of God. The body you live in, the temple of God. It is in this now moment that as I recognize God within me, I invite you to do the very same, to breathe in the fullness of life and recognize that power, that presence, that infinite creative intelligence, that creativity, the beauty, the grace, the wisdom, all of it within you right here, right now. Feel your cells tingle with excitement as you begin to recognize this power. Feel your mind clear of negativity as you awaken to the truth of this idea. This moment, this present moment, is the only moment that exists, and within it, the soul, the spirit, the body, as one thing, experience life and living. It happens according to our thinking. And so I relax into my awareness of God as the power and presence in my life. And as I do so, my thinking begins to shift and change. Notice within yourself the shift. That as you think of joy and celebration, love and possibility, how the body becomes light, comfortable, peaceful. How joy begins to bubble up from within. That stress and strain and worry begin to slip into the night, and the light of day is revealed. The beauty of life experienced. The essence, the unique essence that you are, is revealed. And the many gifts and blessings of this universe are present within you and as you. This day is a moment, an opportunity to awaken, to become fully aware of the body and how it teaches us and leads us and guides us. That the feelings in our body are truly the map that take us to the divine. I listen and respond. I invite you to become so aware of your body that your mind begins to recognize each subtle hint and moves you forward on your path in a way that fulfills your deepest desires, your most exciting dreams, that they become today's reality. I am so grateful for this day and for this moment. I am so grateful for each one of us gathered here today, for the music, for the message, for the joy, for the love that is revealed as we connect one with each other, seeing and believing in the power and the presence of God. In the name and in the nature of the Christ, I let this be my reality. All is well. And so it is.
We will now have a musical selection by the Voices of Praise.
I just wanna be happy, but if I keep on doing the things that keep on bringing me pain, there's no one else I can blame. If I'm not happy, wasted time, but now I can see the biggest enemy, it was me. So I'm not happy. Cry yourself to sleep. Shout and raise your hands. It won't change a thing, child, until you understand. If you're tired of being the same, if you're tired of things not changing, it's time for you to get out the way. Don't get stuck in how you feel. Say, Jesus. complain, addicted to the pain. You give your heart, they push it away. Jesus knows just how you feel. Just let him take the wheel. The love you need, he already gave. But the question is, do you want to be happy? I just want to be happy. Again, the question is, do you want to be happy? I just want to be happy. It might seem crazy what I'm about to say. Sunshine, she's here, you can take a break. Hot air balloon that can go to space. Well, with the air like I don't care, baby, by the way. Here's why. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Hey, hey. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do. Here we go now. Bring me down, can't nothing bring me down. My level's too high to bring me down. Can't nothing bring me down. I said can't nothing bring me down. Can't nothing bring me down. My level's too high to bring me down. Can't nothing. Why? Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do.
Thank you, Voices of Praise. Thank you, Richard. Today's lesson, Be Aware of Your Body, will be given by the Reverend Barbara Schreiner Trudell.
Special thanks for the comic relief behind the camera. If you were wondering why the choir was so happy, our cameraman was doing a whole bunch of this kind of stuff. Sometimes it'd be great to be able to see all the way around, wouldn't it? So today's topic is be aware of your body. And it's interesting, you know, when you listen to that music, don't you feel you warm up a little bit? I would think in these temperatures you'd have been standing doing jumping jacks or something to get warm in here. Your body and the universe are a singular field. I think sometimes we forget that. We think, you know, that our body is one thing and then our spirituality is something else. But what we want to remember today as we journey along this adventure in faith is that the body, the soul, the very essence of our being, all of it is one thing, living in this one universe. And that as we think, we begin to activate the cells of our body. So music has a way of lifting us. Did you feel a shift when all of a sudden they were singing, "Celebrate good times, come on"? Yes. Did that feel good? Yes, it did. Probably better when they did it, right? There's a reason I'm not in the choir, I can assure you. The journey that we're on and the life that we're living is really one of taking all that is and recognizing it's just one thing. And taking the idea of separation or separating parts and pieces actually limits us. But when we just kind of relax into the idea of oneness, we begin to see the possibility and potential. So today's lesson is about awareness of the body. And the body gives us hints and clues as to what's going on. We might walk into a room and all of a sudden feel terribly exhausted. Do you think it's a lack of sleep? There's an energy or a vibration in the room that's telling you something. And if you begin to just kind of check in with your body, you begin to see that maybe this isn't a right fit for you. And if you're smart, you just make your way. sometimes we stick around and then we go home and all of a sudden we have all this energy again and we think, what happened there? Our body is telling us in every moment what is going on for us, what's good for us and what is not good for us. And I think that's one of the things that we want to try to remember. So as we work with the book, The Ultimate Happiness Prescription, if you don't have Pierre standing in front of you being a goofball, then there's some things you can just do for yourself. So he talks in this book, my favorite quote is right at the beginning from Thomas Carlyle, and he says there is but one temple in the universe, and that is the human body. So if we begin to think about the human body as the temple of God, does that not shift how we treat it, how we think about it, how we might experience it? What do you think? Yes? Yes. So if this is the temple of God, what is it that I do every day? What is it that you're doing every day that sort of praises and rejoices in it, or criticizes and ridicules it? Because we do both, don't we? We look in the mirror and we cast a judgment, maybe about our age or our height or our weight or whatever the case may be. We cast a judgment. What we're saying really, truly, is somehow God is broken and flawed. So this is where the shift must take place. We must recognize that the body is telling us stories about ourselves. And if we will listen, the revelations that will come, the creativity that will be expanded, the possibility that will be available to us will be more than you ever imagined could be. He says in the book that body is designed to support the mind, and working together they create the state known as happiness. Together they create it. So it doesn't come from out here. It comes from me connecting my mind and body and recognizing this as the temple of God. And in that moment of absolute recognition, I begin to feel an experience of peace, of joy, of possibility. So I invite you to connect with your body. He said the first key to happiness tells us that being aware of your body, you are connecting to the underlying field of infinite potential. If we don't connect with this, we cannot realize our dreams, our passion, all of the good stuff that we think might be there for us. It has to come from this joining of mind and body, spirit and body. It has to come together. So we begin to look at life from a new perspective. As they were singing Happy, that's such a happy song, right? But what's interesting is nobody jumped up to kind of get in the groove of it. Why not? Well, it just wouldn't be proper, Reverend Barbara. This is church. We have an idea in our mind that being moved by something, we must still maintain something within ourselves that hides what's really going on. There may have been some foot tapping, but that's okay because you're perfectly still here, so no one would know. There was a bit of a rumble under the floor, but who knows, right? We want to sit back and say, can I just express my joy? How many times have you sat listening to this choir sing, wanting to jump up and raise your arms and just really get into it, and you've stayed seated because that's what's appropriate? Who's done that? I'm missing something in the back here, just a moment. Kay's done it because she's on the podium. Smarten up. Let your body move. The interesting thing about music, what I love about music, is music has a way of sort of getting past our intellect and past our control mechanisms, and it begins to move something inside of us. So even if we're trying to be really, really proper, our little toes might be doing this, right? A little tapping going on. Maybe we'll snap our fingers underneath the bench so that no one else really notices. And we try to hide that. But what we want to do is let that out. That's our joy trying to come out. And when we suppress it, we actually are disowning this divine power that we call God or Spirit. We're not allowing it life. We want to allow it life, right? Right? Yes. Hello? Anybody out there? Yes. If you're online, please text me right now so I know you're getting this. I don't have my phone with me. It's okay. The journey that we're on is really about authentically opening our minds and hearts that we might truly join this adventure in faith. An adventure in faith is about moving from the thing that we think we must do, the list of things that make us good and right, and begin instead to listen to the divine Christ consciousness within us and to let it be revealed, not just hidden in our own little minds, but shared with the world around us. My husband behind the camera was doing all kinds of goofy stuff, keeping the choir smiling and laughing. Did it look great seeing them so happy? It really did, didn't it? So let's give Pierre a round of applause. The comic relief. The journey that we're on is really about celebrating. And sometimes that means doing the silly or doing the unusual so that we might sort of break the cold separation that appears to be between us and begin to recognize and realize the power and potential that we each possess, and that we are so connected that really what we want to notice is that space between us. If we begin to notice the space, rather than seeing us as separate, we notice the space and we recognize that space is possibility and potential. And if I can let my walls of fear down, I might be able to see you or receive you in a way that I haven't before. I might recognize your incredible creativity and beauty, your magnificence that I didn't see because I was doing this for so long. But by dropping the wall, all of a sudden, our bodies, our minds, our souls can kind of connect. And we begin to see that we're beautiful and unique and precious. Not one of us or some of us, but all of us are special. The body reveals this. We get into an experience with someone and our heart just opens a little bit more. And it feels kind of good. But then right away we'll go, wait a minute, what if they interpret it wrong? What if they think it's more than what it is? Oh no, Your body is revealing to you what's important and what's essential. An awareness of your body will assist you in being all that God created you to be. That awareness is powerful. The awareness is the first key to really living a powerful, committed, loving life, not just to God. Well, yeah, just to God, because that's all there is. That's you, that's me, that's everything. Your awareness is intuitive. So sometimes you just know things and you wonder, now how did I know that? Your body's speaking to you all the time. You already know what's coming out here. You already have an idea of what's for you and what isn't because you can feel it in your body. The challenge is that we ignore it, don't we? Or only women have it, female intuition. Is that true, gentlemen? Men have it too. Just got to tap in and listen, because our body tells us stuff. It tells us what's right for us and what's not, and we want to listen to that. He says in here that our biological rhythm is the rhythm of the universe. That's kind of cool, eh? Like he's talking more from a scientific perspective, but think about it. Like the universe, all that is, we live, move, and have our being within it. If we allow ourselves to flow with it, life gets a little bit more easy and comfortable and obviously more joyful. And when we resist and try to do it in a specific way or a specific structure, we notice how congested we feel and how difficult the climb becomes. Have you noticed that? But sometimes there's an intuitive thing. You think about calling someone and you think, oh, well, maybe I shouldn't because we had words last week, and maybe they don't want to talk to me. And then all of a sudden the phone rings, and it's them going, hey, want to do lunch? They already forgot whatever it was that you thought was going on. There's an intuitive thing, and that if we just let that go and go with that intuitive thing, we begin to realize life, and the potential and possibility of it is expanded. On Wednesday nights when we get together, what we do is we take the lesson that we talk about on Sunday and we make it very practical and personal. We share stories of our own experience. And then from those experiences, we take it deeper and we go a little deeper to find out, oh, how could I do this or how could I do that? And it really does make a huge difference. He says in here, your body steps down the energy of the universe to human scale. So this infinite universe is right here, stepped down into this body that it can be revealed, but it is the very same power. I think sometimes as we're moving along on this journey, we are so accustomed to separation. We are so accustomed to them and us and here and now. And we're so lost in our own trying to fit in or trying to be normal. Anyone here ever try to be normal? Don't you lie to me. I don't believe normal exists. I believe normal is actually mediocrity being expressed. If I'm mediocre enough, I'll kind of fit in. But what if that's not what's meant for us? What if we're meant to be spectacular? But you know what happens when you're spectacular? Maybe your teacher tells you to sit down and shut up. Or your parents do. Or maybe somebody goes, no, that's not how we do it. The evolution of our planet, the evolution of the world, the evolution of humanity does not come from the mediocre. It comes from the spectacular. And I'm here to tell you that you are spectacular. That there is a little something about you that is unrepeatable, and that you bring to this planet at this point in time something spectacular. And there is no other person, I know there's about 7 billion of us, but there is no other person who does it or can do what it is that you're here to do. So what does that say about you? Time to get up off your seats and be spectacular. Allow yourself to love yourself enough to recognize that you are the temple of God. Not flawed and broken. Sometimes people come to New Thought teaching because they feel like they're broken and something's wrong. No, there's nothing wrong. God created you. That's enough. That's all we need to really know is that God created us and we were created in the image of the likeness. What would that suggest to you? I mean, if you're the image and likeness of God, perhaps, yeah. We'll get Kay up here. She's got the answers. Come here, honey. I hear you. The journey that we're on is one of awakening and stimulating our awareness of our oneness with God. That is the only thing we need ever do. And as we begin to do that, as we journey along on this adventure, we open our minds to the idea that there's nothing to fear, for there's nothing that can be against me. Now, it might appear that people don't like me. Well, that's okay. Look what they're missing. If somebody doesn't like you, they're missing out on something spectacular. And if they don't like you, it actually really isn't about you because they don't really know you. From their own perception, from their own training, from their own rigorous life experience, they have developed a set of beliefs, judgments, criticisms of their own selves, and that is being projected. So it's not actually real. So we want to remember who and whose we actually are. If we are a powerful, mighty presence, which, of course, we must be because we're created in the image of likeness of God, right? I know, I'm repeating myself. We must be spectacular. We must be special. We must be unique. We must be remarkable. So how do we do that in a world that feels finite and constricted? Come on Wednesday night and we'll make it practical. I'm messing with you. Only because it's fun. So in the back, if you've got the book, if you turn to page 42, he talks about how to activate that first key in everyday life. Ask your body what it needs and then follow what you discover. Pretty simple. We know if we sprain our ankle, likely a good idea to take some weight off it. Don't really need a doctor to tell us that. That just kind of makes sense. You step on it, it hurts, so ice it, put it up, starts to feel better. Your body's telling you something. Before you act on any emotion, consult your heart. My heart is a reliable guide when I put my trust in it. The heart is an interesting thing. I remember so many of us think the mind is housed here in our brain. It's not. The brain is a computer. It requires software to operate. Okay? And the software, our essence, our true self, is actually contained more in our heart than in our brain, but it is all around us. It is all that we are. The heart is so powerful. I remember seeing a scientific study where they connected, what do they call that, an EEG, when they measure the heart? ECG. Cardiac, there we go. So they connected up the ECG, and they had a computer in front of this gentleman, and the computer was showing photographs. They were just moving through. What was interesting is what they were measuring is in between the heartbeats. You know, there's that bump and then a little space and then bump, a little space. So whenever the picture coming was one, you know, a little kitten or a little flower, a little spring day or whatever, it was quite smooth. But if something awful was coming, there was a blip there. Now this is science. The heart knew before the photograph was shown to the patient, the heart knew something was coming. The other interesting thing about this is the people who put all the images into the computer did not know the order of them. So how does this happen? The heart knows. You can trust your heart completely. If you feel really passionate about something, I want you to jump in with both feet, even if it doesn't seem to make practical sense to you. The mind is going to look for practicality. The heart is going to reveal a bigger idea. The heart is going to reveal to you this big possibility that your life possesses if you're willing to actually step out into the unknown, the unfamiliar. People talk about us living in our comfort zone. We don't live in our comfort zone. It isn't comfortable when things aren't working. We're in a familiar zone. And because it's familiar, we like to stay there. What I'm suggesting is get out of there. Because familiarity does not breed spectacular. Spectacular comes from listening to the heart and going, okay, this feels right. The energy is vibrant and vital. So we move forward. Listen to your heart. The best way to replenish your body is to give it what it needs most. Sleep, rest, life-giving nourishment, the joy of movement. Let's be happy. Communion with nature. These are really simple steps, right? And all we got to do is do them. See, it's okay to have simple steps. But if we have simple steps and then we go, that's nice, and we stick it on the shelf, rather than going, how can I apply this? We end up stuck right in that familiar place we've been for a long time, that we go to our friends over tea and go, you know, my life is so awful. I have an ache here and I have a pain there. That was mine. But you notice I'm wearing stilettos today. Getting better. Life is the journey that we walk, and we are the creators of it. We are the power source for the life that we live, because within us is God, the infinite, the almighty, the one. And that power is absolutely all-knowing. Am I correct? Yes. Do I hear an amen? It is all powerful. Do I hear an amen? It is everywhere present, so it must be within you. Do I hear an amen? And a hallelujah. There we go. I like it. We are created as these divine beings, given remarkable gifts and talents that are for us to reveal to the world. It is our responsibility to be in service to each other. We're in service when we give our gift, the gift that God gave us at our birth, when we give that away, when we smile at a stranger, when we feed someone who's hungry, when we hold someone in our arms that needs just to feel the warmth of another body. In that moment, we are being what God created us to be, which is servants. Not in the sense that we are less than, but that we are the mighty like the Christ. What did Jesus Christ do? He served. Who did he serve? Nobody knows. He served everyone. Now, how did he do that? He did it with love, not obligation. Oh, I got to do this because that's what nice people do. No. Nice is a four-letter word. Oh, wash my tongue. I can't do a thing with it. Nice is a four-letter word. I suggest you stop using it and stop being it because it's not true. We're not nice. We're divine. We're divine. We are these remarkable beings filled with infinite potential, and we're pretending we're mediocre and we think that's good. It isn't. We're being nice. We're playing nice. No, it's not good. Love. Love. Love is the answer. It doesn't matter what the question is. Love one another as you would yourself. Well, that means you got to start loving yourself. So remember my little song? I love myself so much that I could love you so much, that you could love you so much, that you could start loving me. They could do it better, but you get the point. You must love yourself so that you have the ability, the strength, and the power to love another. And if you love other people enough, they might just start loving themselves enough so that they can return that love to you and share it with others. Is that a good message? Absolutely. Absolutely. Do I hear an amen? Hallelujah. Yes. Do I hear a hallelujah? The journey that we're on is personal. It's personal and it's collective. It's personal in that I can only decide for me what my life will look like, what my experience will be, and what I will create or not. That is my personal journey. My collective journey is that I am you and you are me, and so I must love you, honor you, cherish you, respect you in the same way that I'm learning to love, honor, cherish, and respect my own self. Does this make sense? For only as I give shall I receive. We're looking for happiness. There's only one place to find it. Within. We are looking for love. There is only one place to find it. Within. We have one life to live and one life to give. And it is our duty, our responsibility to give that life to every single person that we meet. For we'll find a blessing that will surprise us more often than not. And on the day that we go someplace and maybe we're around somebody who's cranky or unhappy, it is our gift in that moment to share our light. Why? Because light eliminates darkness. Have you noticed that? That fear cannot exist where love is. So if we don't buy into the darkness, but rather reveal our light, we begin to shift the energy and vibration of that experience, not only for us, but for the others as well. We always have a choice. The choice is, do I play small or do I play spectacular? What would you like to do? That was really convincing, wasn't it? Spectacular. If I whisper it, I won't be obligated. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Doesn't it feel good to say that about yourself? It feels good, right? Don't you want to feel good? Yeah, we want to feel good. We want to feel happy. We want to be loved. We want to love. These are things that every single one of us want. Am I right?
Yes.
So we have to do this for each other. We have to give up our rules and regulations about who we get to be friends with or not friends with. It's all wrong. None of it's real. None of it's right. None of it's true. The truth is there is God. God is where? Everywhere. So that enemy of yours that you have yet to forgive, God. You know, that kid on the corner of the street dressed in, questionable outfits and you're a little like wanting to cross the street, that person is? Who? Are you sure? That was a little weaker. I'm just checking. As we begin to recognize the power and presence of God as us, as we begin to live from our heart center, knowing that love is the answer, as we begin to share that love everywhere we go, taking down the walls of negativity, fear, and doubt, we begin to expand our understanding of life itself, and we begin to reveal the beauty and grace that was always present. We just couldn't see it because we were too much into our fear and doubt and worry and concern and what will people think. How many people here want people to like you? Okay, so there's a few honest people in the room. We like people to like us, right? Stop it. Like yourself and people will like you. And if they don't like you, they may still respect you because they'll see your being, your unique and precious, remarkable self. We are one. We are one. And it is the love that we share, the love that we reveal, the willingness to be honest, authentic, open, the willingness to stand in who we are, to share our gifts and our glory. That is when the world is transformed. When we look on each other as a child of God and heir to the kingdom, we begin to see that there is no separation, there is only oneness. And if there is oneness, then that oneness must come from love, which is God. And if I am that, then it is my responsibility to do what? Okay, we got to go back to the beginning. Love is the answer. Remember I said that earlier? Love is the answer regardless of the question. So when you're a little nervous and you're in a group of people and you only know one person and you don't know anybody else, it's time to go up and say, "Hi, how are you? Who are you?" Say hello, say good day, say good morning, say good afternoon. Say I love you to the people that you love and say it often. Hug and kiss each other because it feels really good. I hug and kiss everybody. I'm really lucky that my husband's not jealous. Well, at least I don't think he is because he hasn't said anything about it. But I hug and kiss everybody, not because it means anything other than I see you. Namaskar. The spirit in me, the essence of me sees you, and I love what I see. Can you do the same? Namaskar. We are on a journey. This adventure in faith, it is my favorite time of year because it reminds me about my practice, my spiritual practice, my practice of being open and loving and kind. Not one day or some day or when I'm having a good day, but every day, and especially on the day when I might feel a little, because sometimes we feel that, right? A little, That's the day when we need to love the most, because we get what we give. So I invite you to rejoice in who you are, and I invite you all to come on Wednesday evening at 6:45. We meet for an hour and 15 minutes, and we'll talk about how to make this really practical. How to not only hear the words, but practice them in an experience that you may be having that you don't quite know how to do this in that experience. We will help you to get there. You see, we're on a journey, and this 8-week adventure in faith is just the beginning of something truly spectacular. Repeat after me. I am spectacular.
I am spectacular.
God bless you.
Hi, everyone. Hi, everyone. Hi. Oh, jeez, all right. I'm going to do something a little different here. I want a little audience participation, if that's okay. So, choir, bear with me for a second. I want you to repeat after me. I've got my mind made up. Just say that. Wait, one, two. Okay. Because I have the love of my Christ today. Say that. We'll work on that. That's okay. I've got my mind made up. And I won't turn back. Because I have the love of my Christ today. Let's put that whole thing together. So we'll go like that. I've got my mind made up, and I won't turn back, because I have the love of my Christ today. I've got my mind made up, and I won't turn back, because I have the love of my Christ today. All right, so I'm going to point to you when you join in, all right? From the top. Oh, I'm Shemroy, the drummer boy, by the way. Nice to meet you. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. I've got my mind made up, and I won't turn back, because I have the love of my Christ today. I've got my mind made up, and I won't turn back, because I have the love of my Christ today. My turn. Goodbye, doubt. I stay no longer with you. Goodbye, fear. I stay no longer with you. I made up my mind to go God's way the rest of my life. I made up my mind to go God's way the rest of my life. Your turn. Goodbye, doubt. Oh, yes. I stay no longer with you. Goodbye, fear. I stay no longer with you. I made up my mind to go God's way the rest of my life. I made up my mind to go God's way the rest of my life. This one's easy. You say, thank you, God. Thank God, I thank you, God. Your turn. Thank you, God. Thank God, I thank you, God. Again now. Thank you, God. Thank God, I thank you, God. Sing again now. Thank you, God. Thank God. I've got my mind made up, and I won't turn back, because I have the love of my Christ today. I've got my mind made up, and I won't turn back, because I have the love of my Christ. I need everybody to stand and listen. Lord, your name's so sweet. Yes, your name's so. Your turn. Lord, your name's so sweet. Yes, your name's so. Again now. Lord, your name's so sweet. Bless your name so sweet. Lord, your name's so sweet. Yes, your name. Now you say, I will never feel defeated. Lord, your name's so sweet. I will never feel defeated. Lord, your name's so. Let me hear you. I will never feel defeated. Lord, your name's so sweet. I will never feel defeated. Lord, I've got my mind made up, and I won't turn back, because I have the love of my Christ today. members of the Voices of Praise.